Hi and welcome to SCW here for WWE Extreme Rules Match Card and Predictions here on YouTube.com. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe right now, leave any comments in the comment section. Please like and share the video as well. Well, without further ado, it is this Sunday. The predictions are on the way, but first off, you need the match card. So without further ado, here it is. So that is the match card for this Sunday. Now, above everything else, I want to know your predictions in the comments below. I cannot wait to interact with you. And don't forget, you can skip to your favourite match using the chapters feature below. But I recommend sticking around because there's some great stuff coming out. But just quickly, before we do go into those predictions, just going to give my thought quickly as the pay-per-view as a whole. I'm quite looking forward to it. I think there's some great matches lined up for this card. Granted, I've seen quite a few people a little bit upset with the pay-per-view name, the fact we've not got more stipulation matches. In fact, only Raw this week was given the first stipulation match of an Extreme Rules match for Roman versus Finn Balor. But I don't think all matches necessarily warrant the stipulation in this case, and I do think that the pay-per-view purpose will have its major headlines coming out throughout the main event. Like I say, I'll be touching on that more later in the video. But I'm going to start with a match that I definitely think doesn't warrant an Extreme Rules stipulation, and that is for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Going to be talking Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair. And the reason I don't think we need a stipulation for this match is because, well, let's be honest, after SummerSlam of 26 seconds, I think this time around we are going to get a proper match between these two, and I'm really looking forward to it. It feels like a big time deal. These two have had, a main event segment on SmackDown recently. Becky Lynch coming back, just literally slowly going into this heel character. I think it's been fantastic the way it's delivered, because we've kind of felt like Becky, she's left the child at home, she's come back for the people, and by doing some of the actions that she said, and she said, look, I was desperate to do what I did before, but now I'm even more desperate now that I've got a family. And we have to remember, going back to 2018, how she got so over to begin with was the heel turn on Charlotte Flair. It's just at that time, that's what everybody wanted. This time she's come in and screwed over Bianca Belair, who, let's be fair, at the time was really over with the crowd. And although most of them probably would have been okay with her losing, I think in the manner of that defeat upset them all the more. It kind of had that same impact as what it did for Becky back in 2018, but this time it's more of a negative turn. And at the time, I did think it'd done some damage to Bianca Belair after they put so much time and build into the character, but I must admit, it's a refreshing pace to not have a super long-length championship reign where I kind of get bored of seeing the babyface champion in the end. This way, she's chasing for the championship again, and it's very interesting. The fact is as well, if she can get the win this Sunday over Becky Lynch, look, to be fair, she becomes an even bigger star because she's beat the winner of the other WrestleMania main event from WrestleMania 35. But the big question is she going to pick up the win here? And this becomes the first of probably much of a theme of this video. What's going to happen with the WWE draft? Because that's coming up the week after Extreme Rules. It starts on SmackDown and is on the following Raw. So will these two even be on the same show after Extreme Rules for longer than a week? I think this story has got a lot of mileage in it now. Whether it's going to take place here and then they go on separate shows and it recaptures from the Royal Rumble to WrestleMania, we'll have to wait and see. But in my personal opinion, I said it's been a kind of slow Becky Lynch heel turn, and she's still getting cheered in places, including there was videos on Twitter in the UK tour, her getting big cheers from the crowd over there. So she needs to do something that's a fully fledged heel turn, something that makes it just clear as day, because we finally get the match. She's been sort of avoiding it as best as she could. Bianca Belair, in fact, had to win a four-way elimination match to get this rematch. So if she does something in the match where we get a good classic one-on-one between these two, 15-20 minutes, and there's a real cheap move at the end, Becky gets the full heel heat. Bianca Belair, again screwed out of the match, needs a further opportunity. They can attempt this on a further pay-per-view, whether it's they're on the same show, or they could be splitting up shows. Maybe, say, for example, Bianca wins the Rumble again, then meet at WrestleMania. So there's certainly food for thought of what can happen. I'm going for a Becky Lynch retain because I feel, although I want to see Bianca as a bigger star in the long run, Becky Lynch has just got hold of this championship. It feels at the moment that there's a lot of momentum that could be gained for Becky in this, and it's not actually going to harm Bianca Belair too much more than what it did at SummerSlam. So for me, in this personal opinion, right now, it's time for Becky Lynch to remain SmackDown Women's Champion. She'll get a cheap, cheating victory this Sunday. Next, let's talk about the United States Championship, a triple threat match. Damien Priest defending against Sheamus and Jeff Hardy. Well, Damien Priest is on a tear right now, and I expect that to remain the same. Now, Damien Priest has beaten Sheamus at SummerSlam to win the championship. He actually defeated Sheamus and Drew McIntyre by pinning Drew McIntyre on Raw in a fantastic triple threat not too long ago. And he beat Jeff Hardy a couple of weeks ago. And a bit strangely, Jeff Hardy beat Sheamus this past week on Raw after losing to Priest to get added to this United States Championship match, which was originally one-on-one. Now it's a triple threat. A lot of people want to see Jeff Hardy in and around the mid-card area at least, and I think here this is another opportunity to continue putting stock in Damien Priest, who's had a fantastic push from WWE since debuting on Raw, or at the Royal Rumble at least, being associated with Bad Bunny, having a couple of quiet moments, but now building up into this, United States Championship program, now beating big stars on the way. Two established stars here on pay-per-view. I expect Priest to pick up the victory to continue that momentum. I think it's a dark horse for winning the Royal Rumble next year. But one thing's for sure, again, I mentioned the draft here. Hopefully Jeff Hardy, Sheamus, they could be on different shows to Damien Priest after this. I wouldn't mind seeing them separated so we don't keep seeing continual rematches. But one thing's for sure, Damien Priest is on a roll. It's not going to change here at Extreme Rules. Next, we'll talk about Liv Morgan versus Carmella. Now, another match that I think, I'm kind of surprised it's on pay-per-view, but definitely two of the more improved workers in WWE. I think this is a sign, actually, that WWE might actually be listening to their audience, because since returning to live crowds, Liv Morgan was getting quite a reaction from the crowd right from the off, going in towards Money in the Bank. Arguably was the most popular performer in the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Although they didn't have a program for her going towards SummerSlam, they've now found a spot for her on the next pay-per-view, which I think is really, really cool. And like I say, both are really improved workers as well. I don't think it's the best feud I've ever seen in my life, if I'm being brutally honest, but I do think that we're going to get a good match. I hope it doesn't get pushed to the kickoff if there are additional matches added on SmackDown this week, but we'll have to wait and see. But in the meantime, looking at it, I think the star potential is in Liv Morgan, so I'm going to go for her to pick up the victory. Carmella has been in and around championship matches before. I had a great program with Sasha Banks at the turn of the year. Also had a program with Bianca Belair during her championship reign. Right now, with Becky Lynch as a SmackDown Women's Champion, it makes more sense to build the babyface, so I'm going to go for a Liv Morgan victory. Next, let's talk about the Raw Women's Championship. The champion Charlotte Flair defending against Alexa Bliss, and thank God this is not an Alexa's Playground match, eh? It's been a bit of a bizarre build-up with these two. We've had the Lily doll, and now we've had the Charlie doll. Not really my cup of tea, but one thing I will say that I feel positively about this, Alexa Bliss has gone away from the supernatural stuff that I was really not a fan of. It's gone more towards mind games and that sort of element. So with that and a darker character, I'm kind of more invested than what I would have been. And this is a match that I wanted to see as a feud for the longest time. And Charlotte Flair this week on Raw was saying the things really that I wanted to hear. She was saying that I want the goddess back, the one that was the former 5-time women's champion. I want that character of Alexa Bliss to turn up at Extreme Rules. And Alexa, in retaliation, saying that she's happy as she is, but she doesn't need a title to define her, where Charlotte, what does she do if she's not a champion? Well, we have seen previously when Charlotte is not a champion, she goes and wins those championships back. I mean, Charlotte has the opportunity, as she is. I still think she's one of the best performers, but I do like the fact that Charlotte ripped off the head of the Charlie doll. She was going to go and try and do that with Lily as well. I think that would be a great way to finally write Lily off as well. Maybe they could make this a longer term feud, and this could be the way that we can transition Alexa Bliss back into the goddess character, but I'm pretty sure I'm wishful thinking here. There was reports as well going from Dave Meltzer saying that a lot of people walked out from this from Raw and never came back. I think it was something like originally 1,500, then it was 700, but a lot of people that were at Raw went against those reports, and from my opinion, watching on the TV screen, it looked like people were quite invested in that. And I must admit, like I was saying, seeing the interaction between the two of them, particularly where Charlotte Flair was giving the woo, and Alexa was saying, well, that's not original, it's not even yours, and Charlotte Flair actually would tell her out and say, you want to talk about originality, obviously going with the Bray Wyatt stuff. I was a lot more invested in this, and I'm looking forward to this match a lot more after that segment on Raw. But for the result this Sunday and where I'm going to predict, it's very difficult, because looking at it, with the draft coming up, this could go either way. Do we want to put Charlotte Flair on the same show as like a Bianca Belair, where she moves to SmackDown, or does Bianca come to her on Raw and we make a future main event with them there? Do we have Alexa Bliss that's going to move over to SmackDown as a babyface, challenging for Becky Lynch further down the line? So, I mean, it's hard to know what way WWE is going to go. I'm going to go with my gut instinct and say Charlotte Flair, but I'm going to be honest with you, this one really could go either way. And I'm literally judging this on the basis that I usually go with a 50-50 booking from WWE. If someone is strong on the show leading up to it, or is the last one standing, then I feel there's a chance they could be losing on the pay-per-view. And although it was very back and forth with Charlotte and Alexa on Raw, Alexa Bliss was the last person standing at the end of that segment. So it makes me believe that Charlotte may walk away still as champion this Sunday. Next, let's talk about the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, the Usos versus the Street Profits. That's going to be fun to have a little stipulation with these two. These two have faced off before these teams, but they've got great chemistry in the ring, always put on great matches. I feel this is a win-win. Put it on pay-per-view. They're going to get time as well. I'm expecting them to deliver this Sunday. The big question is here, what's going to happen? Because I feel the Usos will retain. That's my prediction. But I do feel as well that this could be a way to write the Usos out of the main event, because with an Extreme Rules match going on with Roman Reigns and the Demon Finn Balor, that would be an easy way to get the Usos involved. So if you want to write them off earlier in the evening, it would be to make them lose to the Street Profits. Also puts a bit of pressure on the Tribal Chief of if he can retain the championship. You can have that little story narrative playing throughout the night. But what I will say is that I'm not bored of the Bloodline. I like their dominance. I like the way they are. There is a chance, though, I think they could be moving to Raw in the draft, which also would strengthen why the Street Profits should win the Tag Team Championships here, because, let's be fair, you don't just see people swapping belts over. That's not a good look. It's fair enough if Roman goes to Raw and the Universal Championship becomes red. It's not okay if he ends up, well, it's not really if it's red, but still, if he was to change it over from the WWE Championship, you'd think, what's going on? So, for me personally, if they are going to go to Raw, it makes more sense for the Profits to win it. But what I will say is, like I said, I like the dominance. I'm going for the Usos to retain here. I want to put the stack against Finn Balor, because there could always be another reason why Finn Balor will get the numbers even in the main event as we go towards it now, which of course is the Extreme Rules match, the one stipulation match we've got, Roman Reigns versus Finn Balor Universal Championship. And that's the fact that Roman has got multiple feuds going on at the same time. We seem to have started something off with Big E going on, that's been on numerous SmackDowns. Now the idea that Big E has become WWE Champion. Heyman said, well, you know, you went after the right champion because you wouldn't have beat Roman. What about the fact he's got Brock Lesnar coming up, a crown jewel? And of course, I feel WWE's kind of already spoiled it, because if Roman was to, you know, beat Finn Balor, that match automatically becomes a Universal Championship match. So it doesn't really make sense for Brock Lesnar to come in and destroy Roman Reigns on this event. Although I do feel that Brock Lesnar will show up, because Paul Heyman was asked the question, will Brock Lesnar show up at Extreme Rules? So I think he will. I'm going to say it out right now. I think Roman Reigns retains it, because it doesn't make sense for Brock, as I say, to not get himself in a championship match in a few weeks' time. But I do feel that WWE are looking for headlines with this match and why it's under that Extreme Rules banner. We have to remember as well, the Demon Finn Balor. It kind of makes sense that this match has that stipulation, because Finn Balor has been screwed throughout the entire process since returning to SmackDown. He was supposed to get the match after Reigns turned down Cena at SummerSlam. He was taken out of the contract signing, and Cena basically stole that championship match. He then got his opportunity on SmackDown. He was attacked by the Usos going forth. You know, the Prince Finn Balor, you know, it goes so far. This demon character has been well protected by WWE up to this point. Sadly, I do feel it's come too soon for Finn Balor on this sort of main roster run for the second time round, because where does he go if he loses? It feels like he drops straight back down to the mid-card, and unfortunately, that's where I think it can happen. Maybe the draft can rescue Finn, and Finn Balor will be a top challenger on the other brand to Roman Reigns. But at the same time, like I say, prediction has to be Roman all day long. I think it's going to be a great match between these two. I think there will be twists and turns. What we have to remember as well, Finn Balor has beaten Roman Reigns previously back in 2016 when he was debuting on Raw. He'd not been on Raw very long at the time. That's what led him going to SummerSlam to become Universal Champion back in 2016 before the injury and having to vacate it. So let's see how it's going to go down. I think it's going to be an awesome match between the two. I think Roman's storytelling in this last 12 months or so in his matches have been phenomenal. So there has to be philosophy of what they're going to do with this. I'm excited to see how it's going to play out. Will the Usos just simply get involved and create the numbers game? Will this Demon Finn be able to overcome the numbers game but can't overcome Roman? Or is Brock Lesnar going to come in and make some sort of appearance here? Would Big E make some sort of appearance here? It doesn't really make sense that we've not got Big E and Lashley on this pay-per-view as a normal match. That would have made sense. And the fact that, Bobby Lashley attacked Big E with a steel chair as well. Makes you wonder why this is not a chairs match or something street fight or no disqualification on this pay-per-view as well. Would have seemed quite fitting, but I guess they want to save that for the weekly shows in the minute to try and keep building up those television ratings for Monday nights. But anyway, on that note, I shall stop the predictions video for you there. Thank you so much everyone that's been watching anyway. Let me know, as I say, your predictions in the comments below. I'm very much looking forward to interacting with you, and let me know what you think this Sunday is going to transpire. In the meantime, you've got other videos you can check out on the channel as well, and I will be back for my live Q&A, which will be on Friday evening. So yeah, it's going to be great times, fun times ahead coming up in SCW, and with the draft coming up, yes, the videos have started already. There will be draft videos coming out throughout next week, including my predictions, who I think will be moving where, and of course I will leave it until after Extreme Rules to give those final predictions. But that's all from me. Thank you for watching. Have yourselves a great day. You've been watching SCW here on YouTube. Have yourselves a great day.